Hello, it's me. Look what I have.
So I finally come around to trying these paints, and let me just get the most obvious thing out of the way first. This palette is gorgeous. Okay, whoever did the packaging knew exactly what they were doing. If you're into art, you probably are a sucker for packaging. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted this palette just for this really pretty green cover. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty that I just wanted to use it in a bunch of different ways, and here's what I came up with. You could put it on your wall. You could do a little sexy photo shoot with it. You could cover up your useless degree that you suffered greatly for. You could decorate your Christmas tree in February. Okay, that's enough. But I've tried to record this voiceover for quite a while now, and I just kept getting really bored with it because it was just dragging on forever. So I thought I would just get to the point. So here are the pros and cons with these paints. Pro. Really pretty packaging. I think I already said that already. Another thing is that the pans are really huge. So you can keep the palette very mess free. It'll fit almost any size brush, even those like big ones that you use for washes. It's so dope. It's really smooth paint, like really freakishly smooth. The second that you touch your wet paintbrush on that pan, it is good to go. Well, you maybe have to swipe a couple times, but like it's good to go. My other main set of watercolors is the White Nights palette, and those are really creamy too, but these blow those ones out of the park. Is that the saying? What else? Oh yeah, the palette is really dope because it has the colors labeled on there, which I find really helpful because like, you know, I'm done. Like I need that extra little guidance. I can't always tell what color it is just straight out of the pan. But it does come with like a really neat swatching area right on the label, not on the label, on the lid. So that's really fun. Now for the cons, I would say, okay, the paint lifts off really easily. So if you're the type of person that likes to work in a lot of layers, slowly building it up, you're not gonna like this paint. This thing, you could really, like, if you wet a clean paintbrush and try to take off that paint, it will come off easily, which is really cool for a beginner if you are prone to making mistakes and you like to, you know, erase. But it is a con if depending on how you work with your watercolors. It's kind of glossy when it's like put on thick. So I didn't really notice it in the painting I'm painting right now because I just kind of like worked quickly with it. But I did another one afterwards and I dabbed on some like thick yellow paint to have a little bit more opacity for some flowers. And afterwards, those flowers are definitely glossy, like when you move it up in the sun. I didn't think that I would care about that, but it did kind of annoy me. It's almost like a little bit sticky when you touch it too. So yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Another thing is that there's no mixing space. So this is just the palette. There is no room for you to mix your paint. So you need another little whatever. And I mean, that's fine, I have some, but it's just like annoying. You wouldn't be able to take these with you to travel unless you also brought something to mix on. So now another pro is that I don't really like the way the colors mix together that much. I just got the smallest palette that they had with the least amount of colors because it was the cheapest and I just wanted to try them out. And I kind of hoped that it would force me to color mix more and learn more color theory, but mixing the paints, I don't know, it's okay, but I feel like it does end up more on like the muddier side. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. Now for the painting here, I didn't really have a lot of issues with it. The palette does force me to kind of do like very loose, very quick, like no overthinking type of paintings because I know that I can't layer with them too much, so I just kind of go for it, which is a really nice positive. But I was starting to have some issues with the paint kind of sitting on top of the surface of the paper. And this is like relatively good paper. It's just Strathmore 500 series, I think, or 400. And I wasn't sure why. And then I kind of thought, oh, I did do a lot of erasing in the beginning, so maybe I messed up the surface of the page. So then I wanted to test the paints out on a few different watercolor papers that I have. So I did the Canson Mixed Media, which was really just a test. I mean, that paper is not really built for watercolor. I did the Canson watercolor, and then I did B paper, which is 100% cotton paper. And from the tests that I saw, obviously I think on the B paper they looked the best. They were the least kind of streaky on there, but they did like still lift off quite a fair bit, which was interesting just because the B paper usually soaks up the paint very well and like you cannot move it afterwards. Something else I really liked about these paints is that they had really nice flow. So working wood on wet is pretty cool. There was like the cauliflowers and the little spikes, as I call them, looked gorgeous. Other than that, I mean, I think they're pretty nice. It really just depends on how you work with them. They really had me thinking about, you know, do I want to be able to adapt to different kinds of paint, or do I want those paints to adapt to me? So that was kind of like a cool thing that I really had to consider. And I think for now I am fine with adapting to the paints because I'm still exploring and experimenting. But yeah, here is how this painting turned out. It was just a bunch of clothes. I cannot say clothes. Man, 15 years in Canada almost, and clothes is a word that gives me a lot of trouble. It was just a bunch of like laundry that was pinned up on the clothesline. I did make a little G&T when making this voiceover, so you'll have to excuse me. Is there anything else that I want to say? Like literally anything else? No, those are my pros and cons. Anyways, bye. Follow me for more stuff and give this video a thumbs up if you want to give me a virtual hug. Bye.